actually of doing these check-ins every couple of weeks with these moons and gaining momentum, and then being able to see the future, really being able to forecast and make plans, because we already talked about letting people know a little bit about what's coming in Aries season, because this is our last week of the sun in Pisces, right? So we've got the sun and moon in Pisces today.
Yes, absolutely beautiful. So we're going to be really feeling into that energy. So this is the closing out of this full year of the astrological cycle. And what a beautiful way to do it. We have this stellium in Pisces. It's absolutely gorgeous. And
people don't realize that, right? Like, the astrological cycle ends at such a random time, but really it's like the spring equinox. So the astrological calendar, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, for anyone who doesn't know. So Vicky's been helping me understand this. It's like, oh yeah, this is a really important moment where we're almost like this Piscean depths before the baby's born. You know, when you're going to have a baby and you're in that really deep internal place, and then bang, it comes out into the world. And that's the transition we're in between Pisces and then Aries next cycle, which is only a week away. So Vicky, I'm going to shut up, but I'm just so glad you're here. Let's take it away. We've got some nice comments in the chat coming in. I've asked everyone to sort of like let us know a little bit about they have any questions, or if they have you know, where their astrology, if we've got any strong Piscean energies, like, to let us know. So
that's really cool. So I guess I should start off by just saying a little bit more about this new moon. So the new moon is coming tomorrow. So we're right in the sort of in the depths of feeling its emergence right now. So we're in the slipstream, and this is just the most beautiful, sort of mystical, imaginative, you know, that real sort of that watery feel. You described sort of the birth process so beautifully. We're at this most delicate point where actually we're almost at our sort of peak expansion, this experience of Pisces. And this new moon is like the cherry blossom coming through at this time of year. You almost sort of think, my goodness, you know, we're out of winter. How can something so beautiful, fragile, delicate actually survive? And it's that element that we're tuning into now. So new moon, everything that's fresh, that's really sort of unfurling into the world. Pisces, very much the sort of the most mystical, transcendent of all the signs, sort of really takes us out sort of into the depths of ourselves, but also across into the world, out across the ocean, obviously ruled by Neptune. It's absolutely beautiful.
And it's like, we were all mermaids once. Like, before we came out of our mothers, before we were born onto the earth plane, we were in water.
We were,
right? We were full mermaids.
It's absolutely.
That Pisces into Aries is like, we're swimming through these deep waters right now to transition into this really yang time of year where it's the earth plane.
Yes. So
manifesting.
Absolutely. So the beauty of this time is that this is where we still get to have our dreams. In fact, if anything, dreams are supercharged in Pisces, you know, this really beautiful feeling. So we don't have to rush into the Aries energy. We have a period now over the next sort of week and a bit where we can just sort of allow ourselves to go within and really revisit what new, fresh life is trying to be born in and through us. You know, Pisces, very much that artistic energy. So yes, it's the mystical, the magical, the transcendent, but it's also on a slightly more practical level. It's how we want to bring that into our lives, you know, and what we actually find awakening within us. And that might be our creative project. It might be our art, and particularly high arts are favoured by what we're seeing at the moment. So it could be poetry, it could be creative art, painting, anything to do with something which puts us in touch with something bigger than ourselves is going to be absolutely bursting to come through us right now.
Vicky, thank you, because I feel you're giving everyone permission to be in that watery space. Francesca's saying, you know, she needs those cherry blossoms because her energy is feeling totally burnt out right now. And it's just so beautiful, because I think the Piscean energy is the one that in our current society is like the least welcome. You know, we're so all about the yang and the youth and the start of things and the sort of, you know, give us the easy and quick and convenient, and there's nothing like that. Piscean is sort of deep, as you say, and mystical and gentle and inwards and illogical and emotional and non-linear, and giving ourselves a permission, knowing, listen, you are safe. You are held to swim at those depths right now. The earth is with you in those rhythms, and actually allowing yourself to cry, to fall apart, to dive deep, to rest, to dream, to nap, to, you know, to whatever, actually will give you the kind of bounce back next month. And I know that Pisceans, they're the artists and the mystics and the poets, but they're also the drinkers and the alcoholics, right, often. And I think it's because we don't accept that eccentricity and that longing for that like spirituality. So people use the alcohol or whatever coping mechanism just to cope. Like, I know my triggers have been up this month. My addictive tendencies have been way higher than normal. I've been, you know, having the chocolate bars and the Bailey's coffees and the coffee, you know, and that's very Piscean as well, isn't it? So it's like, I love
absolutely
permission.
I think it's all there. I think that I mean, my take, so addiction, absolutely, that's a kind of Piscean area to talk about. It can be difficult for people, but undoubtedly there's something about needing to move through, almost to find what's underneath those threads, and it is the longing for something more than what we can just see and touch with our own physical hands. Not denying that, but we're in the opposite. So we had our Virgo full moon, which was all about sort of the craft, the practical element. This is where we get, as you say, absolute permission to dream, to be bigger, to actually see what it is that wants to be born through without having to ask it too many questions. I mean, yes, there's that illogical side and the irrational, but actually, oh my goodness, I mean, everything we now know about science, you know, we live in a non-linear universe, you know, quantum discoveries, I mean, actually there's a truth. And so what I would like to say is, underneath all these experiences that people are trying to reach for in whatever way, whether that has been through addictions, through a darker path, or whether or not that is through meditation, we come back to a truth which is bigger than any of the other signs can contain. So it can be running away, but actually underneath it all, it's that desire to actually really connect at the deepest level.
Oh, I just love that. It's the permission for us to not like to feel that resistance and then go underneath it. Like, don't even try and hit it. The Piscean like swims a little deeper. And just take a deep breath, like go into that meditation deeper, go into those feelings more, let yourself just sort of surrender into it and dissolve, like non-resistance.
That's it. We are all being called now. I mean, so in this beautiful new moon energy, we don't only have the sun and the moon coming together, they're coming together at about 23 degrees of Pisces, absolutely beautiful. So they're aligned. And actually, in alchemical terms, obviously a new moon, that means that sun and moon are really together. So actually it can be a moment of really sort of click inside of like, wow, you know, let those let the gold emerge, if you like. We don't have to struggle on that, particularly in Pisces. But the other really important conjunction that's happening is we've got Venus and Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, coming together. Also, you know, you were talking earlier about, particularly as women, needing to give ourselves permission. I mean, there's a way of reading that energy that says, you know, women, Venus, are really being called, Neptune in Pisces, to live our bigger selves and to actually feel the beautiful, mystical, spiritual, feminine, divine feminine side coming through, ready to emerge. And as you say, then bring that energy through this spring with that Aries and actually start making things happen. But now is when we can really tune in like never before.
Wow, because I'm listening to you and I'm thinking of that Pisces sign, which is like two fish like that.
Yeah.
And it's like heaven and earth, this divine union, the sun and the moon in Pisces. Almost, is it too much to say, women are being kind of in their, like, merged with their divine truth, invited to be these mermaids. Like, I can't think of a better way to say it. Invited into their mysticism, invited into their magic and their full feminine power, to then go to these new depths and realize that power in new ways. Is that?
It's absolutely that. And it really is you know, there is huge power in that Pisces energy. So I think you're absolutely right that it's not an energy that tends to find an easy home in some of the very material world in which we live, But there are other ways in which, and we all know this, I mean, this is true whether or not we're watching Shakespeare's plays or whatever, that actually, you know, true power comes from within. It's not something that the hierarchy gives to us. This is absolutely a moment for women to know that truth and embody it.
That's exactly what I heard in my meditation today. The world does not give you power. Your power comes from God. Your power comes from spirit. And and I was thinking that quote, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But I was thinking that that's the power of the world. It's not the power that comes from the heart, from the spirit, the soft power that the feminines being invited to fully embody, right?
That's exactly right. And that Venus and Neptune energy, that's heart and soul. So we're at the point where we've got the sun and the moon, as you say, the heaven and earth piece within us. And then we have got heart and soul absolutely in alignment. I mean, I can't imagine anything more powerful. You know, start bringing that in and it will be amazing to see what can happen.
This is mystical power available for us all to really harness this weekend and receive. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to earn it. You just have to be available, right? And receive it.
Do, absolutely. And of course, it's also dynamic. So this new moon moment, this is the time to do some dreaming. And then you can also feel, so we've got that last week of Pisces coming up, and we're also moving towards Mercury's going to go into Pisces too. So Mercury's just come round, sort of being with Jupiter and Aquarius. So we've still got some of that vision stuff going on. But as those planets both make their way into Pisces, we're going to feel, so Mercury, planet of communication. So the ideas that we're starting to dream up now are going to get some real momentum. And then later this year in May, Jupiter moves into Pisces, co-ruler of Pisces with Neptune. And that's really when the big dreams are going to be becoming real. Absolutely. So I think it's going to be fascinating for people to tune in this weekend where the seeds are getting ready to be planted. And I would say don't rush to work out what those are. I think your point about, you know, napping, surrendering, really sort of thinking at time to dream, time to imagine, those give us if you like, it's almost the glint in the eye before the seed is born, ready for that spring equinox, and then things will take off. But so very, very exciting times. This is just the beginning of the birthing of this particular energy coming through, which is going to run for some time. And very excited, we're going to have Sun conjunct Venus coming up on the 25th. So we're really starting to see the first of these movements where, so we've got Sun and Venus, and then later in the year, I know we've talked about, we're going to have Venus and Mars conjunction in Leo. You know, lots and lots of love energy, but it's starting here now.
It's starting here now with the self-love, right? With the belief that we're worthy of unconditional love, that Piscean beyond, like love beyond the conditions of what we can fathom with our humanity, that we are loved in such a profound way and worthy beyond what we can actually we can really sort of get. If any of us could actually see ourselves through God's eyes, we'd never suffer again, would we?
That's so beautiful. I mean, the energy that we've got, particularly with Venus, Neptune, I mean, unconditional love through and through, beyond anything we can understand. What I would like to say is, obviously there are other things going on. I mean, we're still in this combination of the Saturn-Uranus square, so we're still receiving all those challenges. So we might have Venus sitting in Pisces, actually very at home there, but we've still got our Uranus in Taurus mixing things up. So I would say that, you know, it will be interesting to see how people feel, but it could well be that as we're tuning into these daydreams, we're also having an awareness of how the foundations around us are going to need to shift. So nothing to rush, but just in case we were thinking that maybe we could, you know, this is a complete lie in the hammock moment, actually what's coming through now is genuinely exciting, you know. Uranus, very much the planet of excitement. And when we start getting around through our Aries energy into Taurus, when we have Venus also coming through with Uranus, the excitement is going to be palpable. So very much looking forward to, you know, what the theme of this weekend might actually translate into over the next couple of months.
And there's this interesting idea in there because, you know, I very much hear the fear is excitement without the breath. That Gay Hendricks quote. It's like, no one said this was going to be comfortable, right? Giving birth, no one said this would be comfortable. It doesn't have to be painful, but it's going to be intense.
Yeah.
And the difference between whether it's very, very painful or just intensity is really managing ourselves within that birth canal, right? The breathing and the allowing and the managing our focus so that we can really move through it with as much ease as possible. Mia in the comments is saying she's feeling like she needs to be around fire. She needs to, you know, ground this energy. And I agree. I think salt baths and warm fires and just the feet on the earth time. To really let yourself find the benefit of the opening, the intensity, like managing that intensity, because it's not going to be comfortable, really.
It's probably not. What I would say is
that we'd rather know. Tell us.
Yeah, I think so. The theme of this Saturn-Uranus square, we've had a first hit. We've got another 2 to come. We've got one in June. We've got one pretty much on Christmas Eve. You know, this is, and we know this, don't we? We know the world is changing. It's changing faster and in ways that we could never have imagined.
Yeah.
So my gut feel in terms of this Pisces new moon energy is, it's like, first of all, tune into it, feel its beauty, and remember that there is something true about that, whatever else is happening in your life. So that is in and of itself empowering, knowing that there is a place you can go to within yourself that has access to such beautiful energy is life-changing. As you were saying about, you know, understanding that, you know, God's love actually means that things feel different afterwards. So I would say that that's one piece, that's an anchoring piece for everybody. Secondly, and again, very Piscean, we start to learn how to go with the flow. You know, the more we can tune into the fact that, do you know what, some stuff is changing, but some stuff is staying the same, you know, we'll be able to ride the wave. You know, so yes, there will be waves, but we will surf them, you know, and that's fine. In fact, in some ways, you know, the way in which opportunities are opening up, the way in which the energy is moving, in some ways, there's never been more opportunity to experience both the awakening of our gifts, you know, and also to be able to share them with others. You know, the like-minded communities that are growing now. I mean, what a huge opportunity. So, you know, yes, there's going to be some bumps, but my goodness, are there going to be some wonderful journeys on the way, right?
Right. And it reminds me of that, is it Goethe who said everyone's an artist? And I think we should add to it, like, everyone's an artist, everyone's a psychic.
Yeah.
The Pisces new moon is here to give you the activation of your creative and spiritual gifts in a way that you probably have never had them available before. You've got access at this whole new level. You're merging with the divine, really, to then manifest that creativity onto the planet, which is this summer of love that you've seen, which is the same astrology of like 1964 and the 60s, and the creativity that we're channeling in now, we're downloading, you know, the words pouring out of us, the music flowing through us. My daughter in the car, she had a song and she said, "Mummy, I'm hearing the song in my head, but I can't sing it how it is." And it's like, I was like, she had to go into school. I was like, well, let's work on that this weekend, because I felt that like frustrated artist. But I also felt this new experience where the artistry is so being called forward, and then it's going to be kind of brought more into the world, as you say, as we go through this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so interesting. I mean, referencing of that period of Goethe, I mean, I keep thinking romantic poets. You know, I'm getting John Keats, you know, Truth and Beauty. I'm getting William Blake, Everything That Lives is Holy. It's like, my God, they were really tuned into something. And we've got something of that going on for us now. You know, and that's such a beautiful energy. Just that chance to, you know, really inclusive vision, you know, really very sort of divine feminine, but understanding that everything is called to the party and that we can tune into our own place within it. And we have the gifts to do that. I think will be one of the most empowering things any of us will have experienced. So yeah, there's going to be stuff going on, but my goodness, it's going to be different and it's going to lead to better opportunities.
And where does that leave us with the rules? Because it feels like to ride those waves and get in that flow that you're talking about, we're going to have to really rewire our minds, because we have these rules and ideas about how life works and how life is, that are built on the last 2,000 years of reality, or however many long, you know, whatever society or family we've been raised in. It feels to me like there's just this new all bets are off type of reality for us to really get with the flow of that.
I strongly believe it. I think we've talked before, Saturn Uranus square, you know, Saturn in Aquarius, you know, which is very interesting, co-ruler. So Saturn's quite strong there, you know, and we know that Aquarius likes to think things through, you know, has a plan, has a vision, is going to make it happen. But Saturn in Aquarius is very much about what the community, Aquarius, is expecting us to do. So this is really where our rules are. So they're slightly more flexible rules. You know, this isn't Saturn in Capricorn, which we had before, which was very much my way or the highway. You know, this is a more adaptable, amenable, but still there's somebody else's agenda potentially behind it. Whereas Uranus in Taurus squaring that energy is saying, hang on a minute, actually, I have to live by my own values. That's Taurus. And I'm going to do it. I'm absolutely going to do it my way. And that's that Uranian energy in there. And I cannot see a way in which we don't continue to see rules. I was going to say, broken's maybe too harsh. I think there will be a much better understanding of why the rules are the rules. And a much better sort of collective understanding that some rules are actually for common good. But unless we individually agree with them, it's going to be very difficult to sort of fit in someone else's box anymore. You know, there is a transformation society-wide about what we think is relevant and important. And it feels to me as though anyone that's able to tune into this sort of Piscean energy has got a particular role to play in terms of asking the questions. I mean, that's one of the things about Pisces. Pisces doesn't always give us answers immediately, but Pisces absolutely supports us to be going deep within and asking those questions of the universe. You know, that's what we're going to be doing next week in terms of the psychic work, but that's the way that the Pisces energy works all the time. It's like, what would you like to know and how would you like to feel into it? And then we see what evolves. And so I really do feel that this energy in terms of rules is going to be, oh, well, this will be interesting to see how many of the rules that seem to be the way that life's played right now are still sticking around by the time we get to Christmas. I think it's going to feel quite different.
Wow. I feel so lucky. Vicky, you are such a gift. I feel so grateful to you in this moment. What else? Okay, do we have questions from the floor about this? I know that I'm just feeling lit up, but also very centered. Like I feel strong and grounded in a way that I really honestly haven't this year fully. I've known it's there, but I've just felt like not quite yet. Like the clarity's coming, but it's not here yet. And then really only in the last couple of days do I, you know, I've left you voice messages like, because, you know, I can suddenly see the way ahead. Like I can suddenly see the schedule, if you like.
Yeah, I think that's what, I think it's been a much tougher winter than people would have understood, obviously for practical reasons, but also there is a deeper piece, this sort of transition through this Aquarius stellium that we were talking about last month. You know, that's taken a huge amount out of people. You know, it's been a real uplift. It's almost been like getting a sort of a download and all of our software's being rewired. And that's not the sort of thing you can just do in a weekend, in my opinion. You know, that's actually taken a good couple of months to be receiving healing. I mean, to be fair, most people I've spoken to have had moments, January, February, when it's been, you know, detoxing. It's not deliberately. I mean, just absolutely the uplift in energy has meant that, you know, got to take time out, got to do self-care. And so that's been so in the air that it's only now that I think we're beginning to really go, oh, okay, actually, this is becoming the new normal. It might not be completely normal yet, but it's certainly, we're able to start understanding who we are now, following on from that deep work. And that's why I believe we've got this little space at the end of this Pisces period to actually pull it all together before we're rebirthed back into that Aries energy.
You nailed it. That's exactly the words I was just thinking about when you were saying, you know, this rewiring takes time. I was thinking about a baby being formed in utero and that taking 9 months. I was like, wow, the spring equinox, which we're just arriving into very soon with this Aries, right? The first sign of the zodiac, I am. And we're going to be talking a lot about that. We're going to talk a bit about what we're coming into. But that 9-month period would have begun last summer solstice. And now here we are at the spring equinox. We've done that 9 months of rebirthing, reforming. I felt like I was in this major gestation. I couldn't put loads of offers out in my business. I was like, what is going on? But on a deeper level, I trusted it. Now here we are. Everything's forming, like the eyelashes are there, you know, the baby comes out with all the nails and everything in alignment, everything working order, ready to roll. So what can people expect next week? Gail's asking, should I go into action this coming next week, or should I wait? Should I be with it a bit longer? Because I'd love us to like look forward now into Aries season when the sun moves in Aries. How can we make the most of this last week in Pisces with the psychic series as well, with the Eden room coming up for everyone? And then how can we roll into the sun in Aries in the most powerful way? And what can we expect for that time?
Fabulous. So I think in terms of the next week, I mean, I would agree completely that the universe has been telling us to be patient. You know, there's been this sort of waiting atmosphere, and we're only now just getting to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, it's so exciting, we're coming through. Now, everyone will be slightly different because also it depends on people's individual charts. But I would say that as a very broad generalization, this last week is that transitional period. So just with babies, there'll be some people who get to the moment, they go, no, I'm just ready now. So if you're absolutely getting that feel to go do stuff, go do it. You like, don't hold back just because it you know, intellectually it feels like always, you know, this energy is all about going within and moving through. In very general terms, I would say that it's the time almost to be thinking, okay, so what is it, why am I not, if you're not ready to take action yet, what is it that's waiting to drop into place? Almost that's the question. Or how could it be even bigger or even better? So, you know, if we've got dreams about wanting to move our business forward, maybe wanting to move house, maybe wanting to start a new relationship, whatever it is that we'd like to be seeing coming up, it's almost like, okay, this is the time for dreaming of how good could it get. And in manifestation terms, we know that typically we feel into the energy, we build that sort of head of steam, and then we hand it over to the universe. So this last week of Pisces is absolutely the maximum moment for saying, universe, I release it to you. Like, you know what I want. You know, I'd really like it really big. But there we go. And just then see how the magic works through. Because I think there's almost this. So we will talk a bit about how Pisces and Aries are different, obviously that energy shift, but in other ways there's this similarity that both are, they're the alpha and omega of what it is that creation puts forth. You know, so they seem different, but actually they are two sides of the same coin. We dream it, it comes in. We do not have to work as hard as we think we do, Aries taking action, in order to get what we want. So, you know, feeling the blend through the week will also make sense. And that's supported, I have to say, by having Mars in Gemini now. Things are speeding up. You know, Mars was sitting in Taurus for a while, sort of happily plodding through a little bit. But Mars in Gemini is like bang, bang, bang. So once Sun goes into Aries, I would say it's not just stuff's gonna happen. That I am energy is beautiful. You know, that real sort of sense of being who we are in the world, and that we are human beings, not doings. But to the extent that action needs to be taken and bridges formed, you know, Mars in Gemini is going to be going around doing our work for us. So in essence, another week to dream, think, plan, feel into it, and then, you know, absolutely the brakes are off.
It is the ultimate intuitive action, right? It is the ultimate align your energy so that every action you then take is more powerful. It's the ultimate working smarter, not harder. You know, it's like there's no amount of action that can compensate for misaligned energy. Pisces is giving us this opportunity to have this alpha omega, to really settle in, like align and get the downloads, get the intuition, get the seeing and the dreaming and the vision. cast that vision, and then the action is coming from this deeply considered place. It's not knee-jerk, it's not reactivity, and I would even venture to say it's a shared dream, right? It's us coming as a collective, and in this case as women, to dream a bigger dream for our planet and the earth and our families and the collective, like the human family, and like what kind of a world we want to see here, and really understanding we have a say in that, and we have a power and a responsibility to dream a new dream that we want to live in, you know, and not a nightmare, not give our attention away to the fear.
That's absolutely beautiful. You're completely right, Kat. And yeah, really thinking about that sort of luminous warrior, perhaps I should say warrioress energy, whereby the change outside happens inside. And so we're able to sort of magnetize and attract towards us. I mean, and I cannot imagine a better attractive energy than having Venus and Neptune in with Sun and Moon in Pisces. You know, this is almost the absolute sort of pinnacle of the ease and grace of manifestation, that we can attract it in that feminine way of manifesting, where we're not sort of hacking our way outside in the world, we're actually allowing receptive yin energy that it can come to us.
This is so good, Vicky. Thank you so much. Like Gail is saying, she's loving this, so clear. Big thank you to you. Before we wrap, is there anything else that these wise women need to have in their hip pockets as they go into this weekend? Is there anything they can particularly do? Obviously, ladies, join us next week for the Eden Room Psychic series. That's going to really help you harness. We're not going to like leave you in the lurch. We're not going to go like, hey, it's the most important week, and then like see you later. We're going to be there with you every single day next week, helping you to align this energy, helping you to really dive deep with it, helping you to find and connect with your spirit guide or your guides if you don't already have a relationship with your guides. You know, to be sharpening your own intuitive gifts. We've got an amazing evidential medium joining us on Friday. We've got the Mother's Day Pamper on Monday, which will be an intention setting circle with me and with 3 other amazing practitioners for yoga and meditation and intention setting, and a sister circle. And then we've got something every day, whether it's live Q&A, whether it's intuitive action and taking questions and answers. But then we've got me and Vicky coming back on the Friday for the sunset. So when this week ends, you'll join us in a week today, and at 5 o'clock till 6, because the sun is setting at 6 p.m. Vicky's going to be here, and she's going to be doing some Astro Tarot readings. So maybe those mini readings is something you could explain to everyone, Vicky. So if they want to join us and have a live reading next week, and understanding a bit more about what we're going to be doing to sort of wrap this energy and like seal this astrological year next Friday. It's just going to be like our own New Year's Eve. I can't wait.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I'll be talking a bit next week about the links between astrology and tarot. There's plenty of material for people to come along and listen to, and techniques, if you like, reading your own cards that you can take away in terms of both sort of layouts that link to astrology, but also particularly diving into the meaning of some of those very astrology linked cards. So that's the, if you like, that's the more practical side. The really dive into the energy piece is about, absolutely, I will be here to answer questions, mini readings, so probably only sort of 3 card readings for people, but absolutely sort of bringing things through. So people have got questions, either obviously live questions that they'd like to bring along, or technique type questions, you know, how to approach, then I'll be here live reading for people, really sort of bringing, so I know I give quite a general answers, Kat, when we're sort of talking through, but that's a chance for people who want to get a little bit of personal attention.
To get the specific 2mm dialing in, to pick Vicky's Astro Tarot psychic brain on Friday at sunset. So it's going to be mystical, it's going to be beautiful. Like, sunset is a very sacred time of the day. The Celts celebrated all of their festivals from sunset to sunset. Obviously the sunset's very important for the Muslim faith. You know, it's mystical time because it's this liminal space. And so closing the week, I can't wait to hear you know what people's takeaways have been, and what downloads they've been getting, and what they're holding, and if they feel they want to share that inspiration or be guided and supported. Like, we're going to be right here, and just to celebrate and close this year and really mark this new beginning. I am Aries, #1 in the zodiac. That next day, like a week on tomorrow, That's going to be the start of a whole new astrological year. So it's just so reassuring as well for people that have felt like haven't really got started this year. It's like, it's okay, you're in the right space.
Definitely. Definitely. So there's going to be a lot about next week about being able to land in the energy, and really sort of allowing that we're in the right place at the right time. You know, all of us, even if it feels as though part of our brain is still in last March and we didn't go on holiday and whatever, you know, what a 12 months. But
it's been like a year beyond time. You know, when you have like a day out of time, it's been like a year out of time. Like this whole year, we're going to close it. We're going to get the lessons from it. We're going to realize we've been reborn, and then we're going to emerge into the world in this new way.
Yeah, it's really sacred, actually, when you put it like that. You know, it really is. So there'll be a little bit of that sort of ritual element in terms of closing the full astrological year out at sunset. We know in terms of the energy that not only will the sun be setting at that point, but also Venus. So when we say it's going to be a beautiful energy, like hopefully it will be absolutely enlightening in terms of, you know, that self-love we were talking about, you know, Sun and Venus, really, really magical. And in terms of tips for next week, I mean, I would just say to people, you know, just see what the universe wants to talk to you about. I think the next week or so is all about listening, you know, being aware, you know, not dismissing the small messages that come in to get our attention, the coincidences, the synchronicities, because it's going to be a week of magic. You know, there's part of me that sort of feels like it's probably the right time of the year to start connecting with nature if we haven't had chance yet. You know, so there is that, but it doesn't have to be nature in that sort of, how can I put this? No, it's not about real world. We've got to be more earthy in a sort of should sense. It's actually whatever nature means to you. You know, maybe that's sitting on the patio, maybe it's going into the woods, but actually that Venus energy coming in wants us to touch, wants us to have that sensual experience, wants us to be able to, you know, smell the flowers that are finally coming through. It's that kind of energy, you know.
I'm trying to build my courage for a wild swim, because I can't think of anything more like Piscean than a wild swim. And I think it's uncanny as I'm here in this moment to reflect on the fact that this is almost exactly a year since lockdown. I think pretty much exactly since coronavirus properly hit, this full cycle, this full like wheel. And we could easily be like, I just want it to be over. I just don't ever want that to go through that again. That was really hard. But there's also something that we have to not be victims anymore and say that was happening for us, not to us. So if we were to fully realize the blessings of this year and, you know, leave the rest, leave the struggles, but like take the lessons, giving ourselves that opportunity to metabolize all of that this week. And as you say, not putting the pressure on ourselves to like get up and go until that's complete. Like allow that cycle to work itself through and metabolize before you try and get on to the next thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, you know, that closing out, I mean, there is an acknowledgement of loss in a sense. People do need to be able to take a breath. You know, there is a sense in terms of what won't be coming through into the new cycle. Honouring that is important. But it's also important, as you say, that we all go, wow, here we are, you know? It's like, so we acknowledge where we've been, but my goodness, we're all here for the piece we've got to do next. Right. and almost, you know, allow ourselves to get a bit excited, because I don't know about you, but it's also been a year in which saying that, you know, you were looking forward to something almost seemed a bit unfair in terms of the collective suffering, you know. So getting that our personal orientation in terms of how we feel over the next week, I hope will actually help people to be able to move forward in a really positive way and move forward collectively as we look forward to what can be coming up next.
Right, which is that thing, we're still here. Universe doesn't make extra humans, God doesn't make extra people. So if we're still here, we're coming into that I am time, there's a purpose for us being here. There's a reason we're here. And that's more what we'll delve into next full moon, and maybe we'll touch on it on Friday. So ladies, I really hope you loved this today. I did. You might be able to tell how much I'm just loving these sittings with Vicky. I'm feeling so grateful for you, Vicky. Please share in the comments what you liked from today. Hopefully that you can make it next Friday at 5 with Vicky. I think we're on at 3 with the evidential medium. So if you want to just roll through and take a little break at 4 and then come back at 5 for the sunset session, It's going to be incredible. I can feel already the mystical power of that evening. That's going to be such a blessing. So I'm excited for that, Vicky. And then if people do want to get extra sort of one-to-one support this week, if they would like to kind of like touch base with you privately, how can they do that? Where can they find you?
Absolutely. They can message me so on Facebook, or they can find me on my website. So
And
that's
you're doing readings and all kinds of
absolutely very
yeah.
happy to do readings.
And
yeah.
you're on Instagram as well if they want to follow you.
Okay. Business astrologer on Instagram.
Amazing. Well, I'm sure you might be booked this week, but they can certainly at least get in touch and start to follow you and see what you've got coming. And then we'll be doing, what's the next new moon? I know you've told me it's the April. It's the end of March 26th, isn't it? Full moon.
Full moon in Libra. That's going to be very exciting. Very exciting. Lots and lots of relationship energy coming up for that one. So be something slightly different.
Wow. Okay, well, I'm so excited for it all. I'm here for it all. Thank you for being here for it. If you're watching on the replay, give us some love in the comments. Share this with your girlfriends. Share this with your mother, your sister, your friends. And you know, let's get this collective dreaming together this coming week, because our dreams are so powerful, you know. And Vicky, thank you for reminding us of that and giving us the permission to really have that week of mysticism ahead, that week of magic, as you called it. I loved that.
Brilliant. Thanks, Kat.
Brilliant.
Lovely.
Thanks, darling. Thanks, everyone. See you soon. Bye for now.